Hello everybody, welcome back to First Attack here on twitch.tv/jchensor. My name is James and I will be your host for this day. You guys just watched a bunch of stuff on attack vectors. I talked all about that and how to look at the screen and how to understand how to approach attacking your opponents. Now begins the supplemental section over here in case people watching this had any questions on all the concepts that I was talking about. So if you want to ask me questions here, make sure you type at jchensor in the chat over here, as well as you can also use the highlight my message option as well with the bonus points that Twitch has created now. Yeah, Zelda. So I did that. I used that exact same example 4 years ago in an episode of First Attack. So for those of you who've been watching the whole entire time, you probably knew that was coming. You were probably, happy to see that. Of course, I expanded it in a completely different paths as well that I felt like I did better than last time. So there was a lot of stuff that I was able to present even more so than I did last time. So I felt like I improved on it a lot. I used a lot of the same stuff. The last time I talked about attack vectors on First Attack 4 or 5 years ago, I definitely used Ryu and Cammy as the example because that fight still fights very similarly. So I was able to kind of reuse that kind of situation. But again, if you guys have any questions about the episode, and let me know. Buff Ball and Chain. Dude, Ball and Chain guy is completely screwed. That is such a bad matchup because he has so much startup on that Ball and Chain too. And then he has like 10 years of recovery. And I don't know if he actually has cooldown or not, or if just the AI just doesn't use it properly. That guy is not in a good situation. He is definitely at a disadvantage. But again, let me know if you guys have any questions. I mean, if I don't see any questions in the chat, that means I did awesome. And that I explained it so clearly. And, shoutouts. Oh, thank you, Dawn of Morning. You guys can't see this in this screen over here, but he has gifted 5 gift subs to me. Suck my nuts, Dawn of Morning. Suck my nuts, Felix XB. Suck my nuts, Poning Jack. Suck my nuts, Marleezy. Suck my nuts, Mix Smudge. And suck my nuts, BLK Rage 38. For those of you unaware, inside joke, you can read it here, pause the screen over here. I'm not a jerk like that. I am a jerk, but not like that. Not like that. So, but thank you again. You know, if you did enjoy the episode and you appreciated the content and you found it helpful, and if you think that this is something worth, donating for, subscribing for. Dawn of Morning has gifted 35 subs already. I appreciate it. In these hard times right now, all of that stuff can help. Of course, when I say it's hard times, that means it's hard for everybody. So I know everybody is struggling out there. So if you need to save your money for yourself. If there's somebody else out there that you feel deserves your contribution more than me, contribute to them. We're all struggling in this together. We are all trying to deal with this coronavirus situation at the same time. All of us could use the help. All of us can use the benefit. Right now is probably the most important time I can think of for humans to have compassion towards each other. Now, obviously, some people may think that it's a little bit overblown, that it's not that serious. We don't know. I'd rather err on the side of caution. Let's be compassionate towards each other. Let's be good people to each other. And let's answer some more questions. So Nutacon says, so I'd imagine games with more movement options will affect how much danger you assign to an attack vector. For example, in Street Fighter, jumps are big commitments, so anti-air attacks are really scary. But games like Guilty Gear have air dash, faultless defense, etc. You can probably deal with some of those attack vectors a bit better. Absolutely correct. I didn't go into a lot of it because I didn't want to go too much, and it was already going long already. But if you look at a game like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus and trying to deal with Metera, actually one of the things that makes dealing with Metera a lot easier is the spot dodge. The ability to do a spot dodge in that game, an extra movement, an extra defensive option, really changes how deadly that the zoning is. The rolls help a little bit too, but you have to be careful because rolls will lose to the air arrows. because you can still get hit in the legs, so you can't roll through those. So spot dodging will dodge a lot of things, especially the standing heavy attack, which can be canceled into the far range arrows. If you spot dodge the heavy attack, they can't cancel it into the far range arrows. If you walk up and block the standing heavy attack, she can cancel into a far range arrow and send you full screen away. So if you understand that at that range, that standing heavy arrow hits to a certain distance is what she's going to want to do, because then she can push you a screen away by canceling the H, then you will walk into that range intentionally, spot dodge, avoid the H, come back, and then be able to proceed. And again, you only know that by understanding what your opponent's attack vectors are. So there you go. Another way to show that example. DJ Blues exactly asked, so what are exactly the difference between hitboxes and attack vectors? Hitboxes literally are where they can hit on the screen. The reason why I want to talk about attack vectors more than that is because you want to kind of have the idea of the direction and the angles as well. For example, Cammy Dive Kick is a constant hitbox that goes completely diagonally down. And so even though it's a hitbox here at one part and a hitbox over here, you want to take into account the entirety of the move of it coming down. So for example, like Ryu's Fireball, the attack vector goes completely straight. Not only that, but it doesn't always have to be an attack. For example, the Zangief example that I gave, walk up SPD, the attack vector is actually the walk. If you're someone like Cammy, the attack vector a lot of the times is going to be forward dash. If you're fighting against Urien or Nash, the attack vector is forward dash. And it actually has nothing to do with the hitbox at that situation. So if you're playing against Cammy and you're scared because she controls all those attack vectors, one other attack vector I didn't see was the forward dash attack vector. So you're not hitting a button and she dashes forward. There's no hitboxes on that at all whatsoever, but it's still an attack vector because she dashes in and catches you by surprise, and now she's changed the distance, so now she all of a sudden gained a whole slew of new attack vectors, such as crouching light punch, you know, standing medium punch, crouching medium punch, that wouldn't be threats at that previous range. So attack vectors don't have to hit. Attack vectors can just be a movement option. What do you feel about zoners being plus on block? I always felt Geils Fireball and Street Fighter V should be minus. The reason why it's plus on block and the reason why Geils Fireball has always been plus on block is because he's a charge character. If you are a zoner and you have instant fireballs such as Dhalsim, you will be minus on those fireballs. So the reason why Geils is plus on block is because he already has to charge up ahead of time. That's kind of the idea, the balance of it. Him being plus on block, I don't think is terrible, because if it's plus on block, in order for him to take advantage of it, he has to lose charge and move forward and kind of keep the pressure going. Overall, from a design point, you can go either way. There's no steadfast rule for this, because characters like DJ who have, charged fireballs won't be plus on block in some games. Well, that's because he'll have some advantages that Geils doesn't have, which didn't exist in Street Fighter 4, but that's a whole different story. So that just depends on the way the characters are designed, and how you want to make the character play. Having a character like Geils be plus on block with a fireball, I have no problem with it, but that's because I've been dealing with it for 25 odd years already. Plus another thing is I understand that when he loses his charge, two of his attack vectors disappear. His two most important attack vectors disappear. So every time he throws a Sonic Boom and I block it, if he decides to stay defensive and keep the next Sonic Boom charged, I understand how to approach him. If he walks forward, I understand that he's lost a couple of attack vectors, and that way I can go and approach him and attack him from different angles that I couldn't before. If he's thrown a Sonic Boom and starts walking backwards, I can jump at him. If he throws a Sonic Boom and he starts walking at me, I can neutral jump. You know, situations like that. It's like I said, you can do it either way, both work. But I don't think it's necessarily wrong to have Geils be plus on block on the fireball. So there you go. Anybody? Oh, shout outs for the bits from Naoto Ace, and shout outs for the host from Hosted Radio as well. So let me see here. But these are, okay, spammers. You can't punish them for spamming. Right. So, oh, by the way, Worm Food Feud also subscribed on a 2-month streak. Thank you, and suck my nuts, Worm Food Feud. There is so Michael, I want to help address your situation here. But there's zoners, aka spammers. You can't punish them for spamming. So you can block the fireball and then you still get pushed away. But especially in modern games, you can actually block and keep pushing. This happened in my Footsies episode where I talked about how you can walk and block a sonic boom. And I talked about how in hyper fighting you do this with Zangief against Geil. And even in those games, I got pushed back. Really, when you block a sonic boom in hyper fighting, you get shoved way the hell back. But I didn't care. I would block a few sonic booms, and if I walked in close enough because he faked the sonic boom because he was scared for me to jump, I just bulldogged in. And every time I bulldogged in, the one time he didn't throw the fireball, he would back up a little bit. And then I would walk forward, and then he would back up a little bit, and then I would eventually push him to the corner, and then he'd have no more room to run, and I would have the ability now to defeat him because he had no way to go back. So then the question is, what happens then if they just keep throwing the sonic booms? What if they don't take the bait and don't think you're going to jump, or they know you're not going to jump, and they just keep throwing the sonic boom and push you back forever? Well, then in that case, then you do jump. And that is also the other strategy. I will walk up and block 10 sonic booms in a row because I will lose this much damage. And then all of a sudden I get a jump in out of nowhere because the Geil has become so comfortable with throwing sonic booms that I jump over. And he's like, oh crap, he jumped over. I wasn't ready for that. And I'm at a range where my standing heavy punch can hit him, so he's going to block. But instead of doing standing heavy punch, I empty jump and I land and SBD him and I throw him. Even though he could have gotten away easily, I surprised him with a jump out of nowhere. So that's the whole thing with zoners. You can also neutral jump over fireballs. Different games have spot dodges. You can do all sorts of things to get around fireballs. Neutral jumping and blocking are the most important. But again, you can take advantage of that situation, especially in modern fighting games, because when you block a fireball, you don't get pushed anywhere. If you walk and block a fireball, walk and block a fireball, walk and block a fireball, in most modern fighting games, I can almost guarantee you'll always gain distance on the opponent. This won't happen in games like Under Night in Birth if you're fighting someone like Batista, but again, different games, different methods, because there's also 1,000 different ways to move in Under Night and Birth. You can dash block, which is very important as well. So again, so Shin Airbear mentions that Geil can flash kick you as his boom is thrown. That's one of the scariest things about Street Fighter V. If you are reacting to a sonic boom and you jump after he throws it, you have made a mistake. He can charge up for the flash kick and he will always be able to get you in time. Jumping over a sonic boom in Street Fighter V requires a guess. It requires a prediction, but that should be predicated on you baiting them into throwing as many sonic booms as possible by walking and blocking a bunch. So that's something that you have to understand, something that you have to learn. And again, I talked about the pot odds. The pot odds are important too, because if you jump and you're wrong, so let's say you jump at Geil and he flash kicks you. And then you jump at Geil and you are wrong and he flash kicks you. And then you jump at Geil and you are right and now he blocks and now you're in on him, and then you put him into a Street Fighter V RPS and then he gets hit and you put him in the knockdown and then you kill him. This is what I mean by pot odds. So every time you jump at him, you get flash kicked out of the air. You lose this much damage. But it's worth the risk. It's worth the risk because throughout the time of multiple games, or even throughout the time of that one game, if you can jump in and you are right one time and you get this big old combo and sequence and knockdown and stun and you kill him because it's Street Fighter V, you can take 5 flash kicks, but the one time you got in, you did like 10 flash kicks worth of damage. So in other words, in poker, you call these calls because most of the time you'll win. Probability wise, you can lose this hand many times. If you fold, you'll lose a little bit of money, but then the next time you try that same thing and you actually do have the pocket aces, then you will completely bankrupt them. So if you go in there and you're like, bluff, and they're like, they call you, and you're like, crap, fold, you know, bluff, raise, fold, bluff, raise, fold, bluff, raise, call, and then you take all their money. That's kind of what you're trying to do by the pot odds. You're trying to bait people in so you can take a few flash kicks, but if you get in one time and you can maximize your damage, then it's worth it. If the Geil is good at keeping you out and after they block your jump attack, they still keep you out, you have failed your job as a fighting game player, essentially, which means that once you got the jump in, you didn't know what to do with the jump in, or you didn't have a proper mix-up, or the Geil got lucky, guessed right, sucked out on the river, and you're back into the whole thing again. That happens, and if that happens, then you just say that happens and you move on, and you just know that it's not going to happen most of the time. That's how you kind of have to approach the fighting game situation. What James is describing is why I feel so bad for sim players. Spend 88 seconds keeping someone out and losing in 6. Exactly. As much as you can be annoyed by those zoning characters, a lot of them are designed in a way that you will just destroy them. Now, Geil is not necessarily one of them, but this is why Geil is really powerful and why Geil has always been such a crucial design to Street Fighter V. He's always been one of the most perfect designs as a character because he has weaknesses, but none of them are glaring, and he has strengths, and none of them are glaring. And it's why Geil has never gained a new special move in 25 years. If you gave Geil any sort of other new special move, he'd be too powerful. And in fact, those V skills that they gave him in Street Fighter V are kind of OD. You know, they're kind of good. And it's why a lot of people see those things and they're like, and why, as Capcom, as the designers, they have to be very careful. But outside of that, Geil has never gotten a new special move. Never gotten a new special move because the design of Geil is in such a way that he works almost perfectly no matter what Street Fighter game you put him in. As long as the game plays like Street Fighter and not like Guilty Gear, Geil, the archetype of that character, will work almost perfectly. Now, having said that, people have asked me in the past, back when Geil was dominant in Street Fighter V, how would I nerf him? I basically said that I would nerf him by making it so that the light flash kick or the heavy flash kick maybe takes longer to charge. Heavy flash kick takes a little bit longer to charge than the light flash kick, and only the heavy one has anti-air. The light one will have no invincibility, no anti-air, but takes shorter to charge. That way you can still do upside down kick, low strong flash kick with the light one, but if he throws a sonic boom and you jump and you charge up in time for the light flash kick, it's not going to help you with the anti-air. You have to charge a little longer with the heavy flash kick. That's how I would balance Geil in the situation. I understand why they don't want to do that, because then it's annoying that all 3 flash kicks have different charge timings, and that becomes really obtuse to people, and you know, it's not very casual friendly. But in a vacuum where I don't care and it's only for competitive play, that's how I would balance Geil. Let's see here. People with air options. Bison down dive. Bison's air stomp could counter Geils kick, I bet. Yes. I just said this about what the hell was her name again? It was the Unbridled Jackie. It was what the hell was that stupid variation called? The one that was dominating all of Mortal Kombat, Upgraded Jackie. You give characters all these crazy abilities to change their jump arc and everything like that, and they automatically become one of the best characters in the game in terms of for games like Street Fighter. Obviously, you go to something like Guilty Gear, everybody has double jumps and things like that, so it's a universal option. But for someone like, for games like Mortal Kombat, I mean, Mortal Kombat, a lot of characters have ways to alter the jumps, but some characters don't. But in Street Fighter games and stuff like that, as soon as you give characters the ability to alter their jump arc, that automatically makes them super powerful. So, guys like Dalsum or Mika doing the down medium punch to avoid the flash kick, Bison being able to do EX Devil's reverse to go through a flash kick, you know, things like that. All those options definitely make it so that they have a lot of advantage that other characters have. It's why I still believe Cammy is one of the best characters in Street Fighter V, even though a lot of people keep trying to say that she's considerably weaker now. I think that she's actually a strong character. So, yes, they nerfed her to Meech, and so that's good. And so now it becomes a resource issue. So there you go. But yeah, so that's obviously characters with the ability to change their jump arc change a lot of that kind of situation. And Guile, like I said, wouldn't necessarily function in those kind of games or games like a versus game where you can air block everything. But in a very footsie's fundamental Street Fighter-y kind of game, Guile's design is always going to be effective as long as you don't change the key components of him. Do I know if Granblue Fantasy Versus will be a big thing in esports? Who knows? That's up to the community to decide. That's up to the developer to decide how much they want to support it and how much the community wants to support it, and if the game is fun. I like the game so far. I think it's really fun. I think it's enjoyable. So, I would be happy to see it succeed, and that's more fighting games out there for us to play. And it's also a very different style fighting game that has been moving away from the current trend in fighting games. So I actually really appreciate that about Granblue Fantasy Versus, that it's more of the Samurai Showdown style of mindset, the old school super turbo mindset, as opposed to the modern my turn, your turn frame trap kind of mindset. Shout outs to Richard Kuklinski. I've seen your messages. I will get back to you when I can. 34-month streak. Suck my nuts, Richard Kuklinski, who says, oh yeah, did you get my Twitter DM? Yes, I did. I want to address the question on Tuesday night's show. Put that into the 5. I just retweeted it. If you go check, put that in as like a 5-5 matchup question. And we'll see how it gets on voted. And even if it doesn't get picked, maybe it might be my user choice. Anyway, what would be the Guile architect in anime fighters? It depends. It depends on the game. Honestly, Guile archetype might be like Axel in Guilty Gear Xrd, because he's kind of a zoning character to a degree. Also, even a character like... wow, I can't remember his name because I'm an idiot. Oh... Jeez, dude, old man brain, dude. This is why my nickname is JC Nile, dude, because I swear I get senile all the time. What the hell is the name of the guy who's like the Jeddah clone in Guilty Gear Xrd? Who has the giant claws and the needle through his head? Raven. Thank you. Raven. God, my brain wasn't even close. Raven. He can even be that way because he's like Guile in that he throws the fireball, which controls space, and then he air dashes afterwards and can react based on how the opponent reacts. So it's very similar to the Sonic Boom situation where you throw a Sonic Boom and it controls all that space and you see how the opponent reacts. So that's how. So Raven could actually be kind of similar, even though he doesn't appear that way. Batista in Under Night In-Birth, as I mentioned before, she is definitely the Guile of that game. In Granblue Fantasy Versus, Fairy maybe a little bit because she does have a flash kick. God knows why they gave her an EXDP. Or Matera, because Matera is about space controlling. But Matera is more of the Dalsum style, in which he's trying to predict which way you're going and meet you that way. So I would say that Fairy maybe is more of the Guile archetype because she does have an anti-air available to her, and she's more... I don't know, because she doesn't really put things out and see how you react as badly. I don't know if Granblue really has a strong Guile archetype, honestly. So there you go. All right. Any other questions in the chat about attack vectors and zoning? And again, any feedback on the episode? If people enjoyed the episode, if people thought it was helpful, let me know again, just because it's good to let me know how to do things more, make sure that I do things more correctly. Early feedback on first attack, not enough visual examples. I'm trying to make sure I go all in on visual examples. And like I said, I'm kind of glad I skipped yesterday's first attack, because had I done it, I would not have had all those visual examples, and I would not have had the time to rehearse all those visual examples as well as I did today. So there you go. And again, if you guys do appreciate the content and do appreciate, you know, the stuff that I'm doing here and me trying to be more consistent outside of canceling yesterday because I was kind of depressed by everything, and I'd lost time because I got salty in Street Fighter the night before. But if you guys do appreciate the more consistent content right now, please let me know. And, you know, subscriptions and donations and all that stuff are very much appreciated, especially in this time when, you know, we're all losing gigs and everything like that. So it's going to be really hard to make money. So it's going to be a struggle for me to make money. And if I switch over to this screen over here, I did miss a lot of the subscribers that were going on during the course of the stream. So let me see. I did see the 5 gift subs over here. I also Serenative, Suck My Nuts Serenative, and Suck My Nuts Platinodom. And I did see Tamich and Savage Leonidas earlier, as well as Artemis. So thank you guys for all the subscriptions during that time, as well as a Worm Food Feud, and then also Dawn of Morning giving all those gift subs. Not That One Guy, Suck My Nuts, Not That One Guy, Suck My Nuts, Wayman, Illinois, Suck My Nuts, DJ Blues, Suck My Nuts, Socrates, and everybody else who also subscribed during this situation over here. Next, Unchensored. I have a couple of topics that I do want to talk about, so an Unchensored might be coming sooner than you think. One of them may have nothing to do with fighting games at all. But yeah, I'm planning to do some Unchensoreds very soon. So there you go. Oh, cool. Tubaware and LA Akira popped in. Nice. Okay. I'll say hi to them later on. But again, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, when I do these streams that I make them as concise as possible, even though it was 2 hours anyway. 2 hours is not concise, but that's fine. I don't think I had as many screw-ups. I think I don't need to edit this one as badly. I think I can put it straight through. I don't even feel like I said right and etc. as often. I even noticed most of the times that I said etc. and the times that I don't feel like I said right as nearly as much as I did before. I'm trying to get those out of the way. So I think I might be able just to edit this one straight up and just put it as is without any fixes onto the stream. So I'm kind of hype about that. That's going to allow me to get back to the Grand Blue Fantasy versus Beginner videos that I was doing. So if you haven't seen those yet, I've been talking about all the game mechanics. I've put up 4 videos so far. I have about another 4, another 6 maybe to put up, and then a few more to record as well. So there you go. That's first attack. It's almost 7:30. It's about time to feed the cats and for me to grab some food because, like I said, I haven't eaten all day, so I'm very hungry. So unless you guys have any last questions, I am going to feed my cats, including Jasmine, who's sitting over there drinking some water. She's looking at me because I touched this, and yeah, she's like, oh. Does this mean it's time to eat? Does this mean it's time to eat? I recognize it when she touches that camera. It's time to eat. It's time to eat. Right, kitty? Like, if you guys can't tell, but she is staring right at me. Oh, there we go. Oh, there she goes. Oh, yes. Oh, food time. One of these days, she's just going to learn that she has to look away in order for me to do that. All right, so let's do that, and let's get the other kitty up here. Hi, fat cat. Come over here. Time to get some food. Ugh. Time to get some food. case you guys are new to this is Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. Oh, look at you stretching. That's Jasmine. The other one's Nathan. Yep, that's Nathan. Nathan is a cutie boy. Nathan is a cutie boy. Yeah. Hi. Like sharks, they circle their food waiting. All right, come here, Jasmine. One last time. Good job, girl. Come on. Oh, your face is all wet because you were drinking water. Here we go. Ah, there you go, kitties. So thanks, guys, once again for tuning in and for hanging out. How long did it take to put today's first attack together? Slides, graphics, gameplay, and all? Probably about, a good amount of work. Obviously taking breaks for streaming and for, eating and sleeping and all that stuff like that. I probably should write it down. I'm not sure exactly how long it took, but, maybe like a good... 2 days worth of work, like if you count like 8-hour days, 8-hour days. It's a lot of screen capturing, a lot of creating. By the way, one question that I have for everybody is, what did you guys think of the Photoshop presentation? I felt like, Photoshop is an excellent presentation tool because of the way layers work. Like I just put up attack vectors all of a sudden out of nowhere. Do you guys enjoy Photoshop as a presentation method? Oh, Oral Danny, the cats are definitely in charge. Cool. Glad to hear. So there you go. Can you sneak up behind her and pick her up out of nowhere? Or do you have to buffer a 360 first to be fast enough? It depends on the situation. If she really doesn't want to get picked up, she will run away from me. She can tell when I want to pick her up. There's something about my attack vector that she's very aware of, and then she'll dodge it. Other times, I think that she's just not worried about it, and she will let me pick her up. But she is a good kitty. Will stop interrupting your meal. Go ahead. She's like, God damn it. I don't know, man. Like, if I had a significant other come up to me and kiss me while I was eating like that, I don't know if I would mind all that much. Come on, Jasmine. Man. Oh, look at the cat stretch. Oh, God. Why does it, whenever cats stretch, it looks so comfortable? When I watch cats eat, food looks like it tastes so good. When they stretch, it just looks like it feels so comfortable. In any case, thanks guys for tuning in. Thanks guys for watching. I'm going to see if I can set up a raid for you guys to support somebody else. Because God knows we all need to support each other at this point in time. Let's see who is... Ooh, a lot of people are watching Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. Interesting. Let's see over here. Who do we got? Okay, Smug is doing fine. Punk is doing fine. AM Kid is doing okay. He's got 45 viewers in there. Let's go over here. Grand Blue Fantasy, Sonic Soul is streaming, Leffen is streaming. Oh, that's why there's all these 1,000 people watching Leffen. Man, Smash community is impressive. I'll tell you that much. Lord Jimmy Bones, Nihongo Gamer is streaming again. Shinkenso is streaming. I rated Shinkenso before. Mr. Aquaman is streaming. Lythero is streaming. Oh, but he's got plenty of viewers. Same with Supernoon. He's doing well. All right. Let's throw you over to let's throw you guys over to AM Kid so you guys can support his Ryu and you can tell him all about Ryu's attack vectors and stuff like that. So he's going to be like, what the hell are you guys talking about? So keep in mind, nobody's ever used the term attack vectors before except me. So it is not a common thing. It is not a common term. But definitely tell AM Kid I said hi and support his Ryu play. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night.